It has been an exhausting process, but I learned a lot. I also learned that the monitors may be a hair crooked. Well, here we are, guys. The California Speed video, I'm gonna kind of call it a restoration. This cabinet did not work at all when I got it. The monitor wouldn't come on, the game would not boot. It turns out there was a clicking sound coming out of the hard drive, and there's a clicking sound coming out of the monitor. I pulled the monitor out, went LCD on this one. You'll see in the video why. I think I mentioned why. It actually worked out really good for me because the monitor can now be used in MK4. It's a discovery I made well after the fact, but I'm kind of glad I picked this cabinet up because it could be like a double whammy win for me. I'll go ahead and warn you that this will be a long video. I hope you enjoy all of it. You're only seeing about 30 minutes of the actual repair process. Really, it took me several days, probably 10, 15, I don't know, potentially 20 hours of work spread out over a couple weeks. So I'm happy to have it done. Be sure you have a nice cold beverage and some snacks to get through this long video with me. I hope you enjoy it. Let's dive right into it. All right, I'm gonna take off the old hard drive, hopefully. There we go. Pull the power. And then I'm gonna plug this into it. We'll see if it works. Okay, the flash drive is installed. I just left the old hard drive there for now. I'm gonna boot this thing up and see if we hear something. Let's see. Of course, there's not gonna be any video. Oh yeah. It is all working, thankfully. I'm really happy to hear it playing blind at the moment. Well, the plan for today is to get this thing up and running. I'm a little distracted by my new purchase over here, but today I need to take this apart. I need to get this old monitor out. It's just not gonna be something we can work with right now. It's not going in the trash, don't worry, but it is gonna go in storage. And hopefully we can get it running later when parts are available for it. It probably needs a flyback and we just can't do anything about it. So today, I'm going to do as much as I can today, actually. I'm going to get the glass off, get the speaker grill off, clean everything up. I think the dash is going to have to come off just to make sure, or at least the wheel will definitely have to come off to make sure I can get the monitor out. I've never discharged a monitor on my own, but it's time to be a big boy and learn, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to yank this thing out of here today, and hopefully we can at least set the LCD in here just to see the game play. I've never actually played it and been able to see it yet. I probably said this on my last video when I did Target Terror, but get yourself a set of these if you're going to work on an arcade cabinet. I'll leave a link to it in the description. 12-piece Torx bit. This is a security Torx bit, tiny hole in the top. This lets you get a lot of things off of arcades that you normally can't get off. So I need to get this wheel off. They don't want people to be able to pull this off while they're at the arcade. So they put these security Torx bits on it, and if you don't, back in the day, I'm sure not a lot of people had one of these readily available, but this way you couldn't just unscrew it and run away with it or something back then. But I'm gonna get this off now, and then we can keep working. So one of the best things to do when taking a wheel off, if you're taking the thing off, turn it all the way to the left. That way you're not fighting against the wheel turning against you. And there we go. Wheel comes off very easily. Next, I gotta get this dash off. There's gonna be 4 security Torx screws around the side there. I ended up taking the whole dashboard off. It's not a hinge. It was just in there in a certain way that made it look like a hinge. These are so easy to take off. You know, they make it really easy to hook it back up. You know, you can't really hook it up incorrectly, which is good. And I need to take it off anyway to look at it and get a better idea of what needs to be fixed on it. Okay, I finally got this stupid thing off. The glass apparently had some goo down in here and it was just like glued in. I didn't end up taking the speaker grill off yet. It's more involved than I thought, so I think I'll try to just clean it on here. But anyway, this was a thick, soupy goo down there. So now I'm gonna try to get this bezel off. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it was kind of stuck too. And there we have the monitor. All right, the monitor's ready to come out. There's 4 bolts that go up here, 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 and down here. Took those off, or I'm sorry, nuts in this case. There's just the nut on this side. Get that off, and then the monitor is literally ready to just come out. I did discharge it, by the way. I did not record it because I was scared I was going to kill myself. This is the first time I've ever discharged a monitor. It's a K7500, but it doesn't necessarily, I mean, it does apparently discharge itself, but I didn't want to take any chances. So at least it was a good training for me. It wasn't high stakes, but I had to at least finally do it. I've always had JoJo come do it, and I always feel bad making him do everything, even though he doesn't mind. He's always very helpful and more than happy to help. But you know, it sucks when you can't do something yourself. Now, I still can't fix the thing myself, but at least I'm making baby steps. So now I'm gonna grab some gloves, lift this thing out of here. I don't think I'll record that because this garage is packed between arcade games now, all my other stuff, jet skis, so I need to just have room to move this thing out of the way so I don't drop it. Monitor's out. I'm gonna probably have to take these brackets out, leave the bolts inside, of course, because if not, we'd have holes on the cabinet out here. But yeah, I think we're moving right along in order to get this thing converted to an LCD. Okay, so this is the video connection that was on the original game. This just plugs into the monitor and the signal works. Well, you can't just plug that into the converter board. Let me show you the converter board really quickly. So that would have been nice if this would just plug into it. Unfortunately, there's nowhere for this. The only plugs you can put into it are old school. I think this is a standard res connection. My MK4 Arcade 1-Up cabinet has this board in it, and it plugs into this and it just works. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to hack this up a little bit. The good news is someone's already hacked this up a little bit. Hopefully the color coding will match up the harness that came with this one. Now I know this is the one that came with this board. I know red, green, and blue, obviously. These over here I am not 100% sure of, but I'm gonna assume the yellow is gonna match with the yellow on that one, and the white is gonna match with this kind of gray white, but we'll see. Good news is if it's hooked up wrong, you're just going to get a jumbled image, I think. I don't think it's going to damage anything. I've just spent about an hour working on this off camera. You know, I got everything kind of temporarily wired up to it. I got a TV sitting in here to test it with. And it turns out this thing is bad out of the box. I was not getting any signal. In fact, the TV was saying no signal the whole time. Which, even if there is, even if this thing's powered on and you don't have an arcade signal going to it, it will at least show you its own no signal, and you can pull up the on-screen menu using these buttons. That was not the case. And just to be sure, it wasn't the power supply, it wasn't the TV, even though I tried another monitor, I tried different VGA, different HDMI cords, all that stuff. I took it out to the shed, to the Mortal Kombat 4 Arcade 1-Up cabinet, which has one of these already in it, plugged in the power to it and the signal for the Arcade 1-Up monitor, and same thing, no signal on the Arcade 1-Up monitor. So I think it's safe to say this thing's bad. Even though the power light lit up when it was on, I think I'm screwed. So what I'm going to do now is just order another one, have to stop working on it today, and we'll get back to it whenever the part comes in. So I did decide to change the power cord after all. This has no ground on it. The gauge is really quite small. I think it's like an 18 gauge wire at best. And also, it's just not very long. It's like maybe 6 feet. So I ordered a new one. It got here. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in before I continue on. So it plugs into the back of there, comes out of the back of the cabinet here. I'll show you when I'm done. And there we go. It is plugged in inside. It's coming out the back. I only have 2 screws. It's all that was there, but it's very secure. It is a thicker gauge. It is an 8-foot cord, and it's only about, I think, a 16 gauge, but I think that's plenty for what's going to be in here, especially since the CRT is going to be missing, and we have a ground now. So rather than cutting up the wires of the TV, I'm actually going to install a box in here, about right here. We're going to put an outlet on here, and it's going to be wired up by the old monitor power. I forgot to show you guys while it was out. I don't want to forget to record it, but the outlet is installed. It is getting 120 volts, and it works. My neighbor across the street was home, and I said, hey, can you come help me out with this? I don't really know what I'm doing, as usual. And he actually just installed it for me, so thank you again to my neighbor, always saving the day. Well, I've been having a heck of a time getting this stupid thing to work. The first one was a dud. This one had the image jumping all around the screen. It looked really terrible. So I talked to a friend, Mark, RetroMod64, who's done a similar mod on a Cruise and Exotica cabinet. And he told me to get some of these resistors and wire them in line. So I just tested it with just the sync wire for now. And sure enough, it fixed the problem. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with how it's come out so far. I think I'm gonna leave the bars on the side because the TV is too big anyway. And I'm hoping that I can have just a little bit cut off here and here, so you won't actually know it's a widescreen. It almost looked like it's still 4x3. Well, now that I've got the monitor stuff at least worked out and ready to go, I'm gonna have to move on to this. I have replaced the bulb, I've tried the starter, nothing seems to be fixing it unless I'm doing something wrong. So I think I'm gonna steal Scarlet Sprite's idea of adding an LED bar in here and just wiring it into the existing wiring. I'm not gonna show you how I do it, I'll just link to his video. Basically I'm gonna snip this, I am gonna keep this connector. It's gonna be plugged in here and ready to go in case somebody wants to ever convert it back. If they can. I don't know, maybe you can get a new fixture or whatever, but I don't want to ruin the wiring permanently. I'm just going to snip it and connect it to the other one for now and leave this here. I'll show you guys when I'm done. Hopefully it's a success. I'd hate to fail at this one. Okay, everything's wired up. It's just sitting here for now. I'm probably going to stick it here with some sticky stuff. But anyway, I have turned off the game section. It's not like the board isn't powered right now. I'm going to fire it up and see if this works. Let's hope. Yeah, look at that. Can you guys? Yeah, you can see. All right, that's cool. So I think now I'm going to mount it, probably use some like sticky connection and just mount it to this piece for now. So I don't have to permanently remove anything or screw anything in. And then I think we can put the marquee light or the marquee back on itself. All right, it's mounted on here pretty well, so I'm not too worried about it coming off. I hope the placement is good, but we'll see. I'm gonna put the marquee back on now, screw it in, turn it on, and maybe we can get an idea. It's pretty bright in here, but might be able to get an idea of how it looks. All right, marquee's back on, garage door is closed. There is the overhead garage light on, but I just wanna turn it on and see what it looks like real quick. Where's the thing? There we go. It looks terrible. The print, oh God. Yeah, so it does look terrible. All right. So the print is like burned on the back from the fluorescent tube. I really do not want to buy a new print, but it's like red. Yeah, so you can see though, the areas that were kind of protected from the light before are nice and light colored, but yeah, so I guess that's what I get. I guess I was trying to cheap out and not get a new print. I may have no choice but to get a new print now. This looks pretty awful. So I want to investigate these buttons a little bit. This one feels pretty weak, and when I first tried to press it, it's pretty cold out here, and I first pressed it and it was stuck. So something's either spilled in it or something. Maybe I can just clean it up. It works. I know it works, but let's see. Let's see what I find in here. Okay, so it's pretty dirty. This really doesn't feel that bad after all. I don't know if I'll be able to clean them, but I may try to take them apart and clean them a little bit. So I found something interesting about the radio button. It has connections here for power to light the, go ahead and light up the button, I guess. But, you know, like these buttons here have these extra connections for power. And this does not. It's really weird. You go around, follow the harness over here to the start button. Same thing. There is power for this one. Nothing seems to be missing or nothing seems to be snipped off that I can tell. It's just like there's nothing wired to it. I think it's a little weird that it seems to be just missing. It's not down inside of here. I felt around. I'm not going to worry too much about it. It's not a big deal. It doesn't affect the gameplay. I'm not going to try to like make my own wiring or anything for it. But I did want to show you this too. This is the back of the shifter. And I can't really show you how it works at the moment because how it's sitting. This thing is what moves all around, presses these little micro switches that tells it what gear you're in. I have not had a chance to try this while the game is actually visible and playable, so I don't think I'm going to dig into it unless it really needs to be. I think I'm actually going to put the dash back in and wait until I get the monitor mounted up. And if there's any problems then, maybe we can pull this out and see if I can work on it a little bit. If you guys are ever going to work on an arcade like this, just know that don't be too afraid of these connections, at least on these midway cabinets I found. They make it to where you really can't plug them in incorrectly, but still it may be a good idea to take a video or a picture of where everything was first. So you've got a ton of different connections here. You know, they range from handling the buttons to the lighting to the steering to the power for this. So just keep in mind it may not be obvious where it goes, but it is difficult to screw it up ultimately. Sorry about my hands, by the way, guys. My hands take a beating at my real job, and it's cold here, and they are falling apart. I swear I don't have the nastiest hands on the planet. So all I'm doing now is just looking for the right size connector, first of all, finding where the gap is in the pins and where the gap is in the connection. Then taking the two sides, again, making sure the gap in the pins, it's probably hard to see, but there's pins across all of here, except for this one one in from the outside here. Same thing here. There's a hole for every one of them except for this one. So we'll just take this, press it together securely, and now it's back together. And I'm going to repeat that process over and over until everything's reconnected. Once again, found the right connection here. I'm in a bad position. I'm like leaning over and trying not to get in the camera's view, but I think we're connected there. Now we need the power connection for the motor on the steering. Now, I don't honestly know where the heck that went, so give me a second and I'll find it. Of course, it was right underneath it and I didn't see it. Once again, though, if you look, it is made to where you can't plug it in incorrectly. It has this triangle shape on the top, connect it there, and you're good to go. I am gonna just go through and double check that everything is connected and firmly, and we don't have any problems before I turn it back on, but I think we're good to go. Everything should work as it did before. I'm gonna turn it on real quick so we can at least test the buttons, switches, all that stuff. Hopefully the shifting too. Alright, we got the start button blinking. Okay, that's awesome. There we go, controls test. Now how do we select? I assume start, okay. Wheel looks pretty good actually. I don't even think we need to calibrate that, wow. Start button works. That is testing the force feedback, which is cool. It's actually got some good pull on it. Let's see what this button does. Radio. Uh-oh. Okay, this one doesn't feel like it's working very good. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Interesting. 2. Neither is this. Okay, this one works, but the light is not working. I thought this light worked. Oh boy, it's always something, right? So this button's a little crappy, and this button works, but the light does not work. All right, well, that'll be something I have to mess with later. Radio does work. Let's try the gas pedal. I haven't done that yet. All right, and brake. Seem to have pretty good range on them too. They seem pretty accurate. All right, so at least I know that. Road camera button works, no light. I'm gonna make a note of this. Oh, now it's working a little bit better. So what I'm doing now is preparing some kind of way to mount the monitor inside. This is 28.5 inches wide, fits perfectly between the sides of the cabinet on the inside. I've put these 2x4s, about a foot long a piece. They're gonna have 3 screws in each one. Screw them into the sides of the cabinet, and I bought a very low profile monitor mount that I'm just gonna mount right here, put the screen on it, and then I guess in order to be sure I'm getting it 100% straight and where it needs to sit, because I do plan on using the original bezel, is I'll probably have the bezel in, no glass, have Lady Cag helping me, and I'll up, down, get it in position, and then screw it in after that with the monitor already on the, I guess already on the wood. That's all I can really think of to make it easier. And after that, we'll be moving pretty quickly. I just need to do some cleanup stuff to the cabinet, spray paint the filthy floor, probably spray paint a little down there. I've found Torx screws to attach the seat section because I didn't get any that I know of. I didn't get any with the cabinet. They are not real cheap, of course, but at least I found them. I need 8 of them, 4 on each side. And then I think we're almost done. Still got to get the Marquee print. That may be a little while though. Okay, so here's the before I clean it and spray paint it, and I'll show you the after when I'm done. Well, of course it looks splotchy on camera, but overall I think it came out pretty nice. I may have to do a little more down here. I don't think it's anywhere near fully dry yet. Little streaky right there. Luckily it's all in the black. I'm learning. Never been a big spray painter, so we'll get it figured out one of these days. It's a good cabinet to test it on. This is gonna be probably the hardest part. There's no way I'm gonna be able to record this. I'm already gonna have to have Lady Cag help me. The monitor's in here, it's sitting in here, it's mounted to the piece of wood back here. What we have to do now is I'm either gonna have her hold it up and try to see where it, I wanna have it centered as best as possible from top to bottom at the very least. The rest of the video I can work with, but this is gonna be tough. I hope I have a good finished product to show you in just a second, but we'll see. I made one huge mistake. I had this thing in the cabinet almost mounted and forgot to plug in the power. That would have been awful. I had to pull it out and use some pliers to get it in currently, and I also need to plug in the HDMI. So thankfully I remembered that before I screwed it in. Okay, it is the next day. I had to go get new screws because the screws that I originally put in, which are still sticking out here, were pieces of crap. I hate them so much. They're cheap screws. The heads really got stripped out. So I went to Lowe's this morning, bought a new one, or a couple new screws, and now it is securely attached. Next, I need to mount this board somewhere. In order to adjust the monitor, you have to use these buttons, and there's nowhere I can put it back here that's gonna be real easy. So my thought was to actually put it down here near the dash. That way, somebody can just take the dash off, set it in their lap for a second while they reach in and adjust it. I know it's a pain, but nobody can reach around the cabinet unless they're like a basketball player with super long arms or something. So I think this is gonna be the best spot. It doesn't look like it, but I'm gonna try it. All right, it's mounted. I genuinely hope this is going to be in a position where it can be messed with if needed, but it's the best I could do to get it in there. I can't really reach too far in the cabinet from here to mount it. Well, I'm making some progress now. I got the screws and washers all painted and cleaned up. Well, cleaned up then painted. I also rigged up a way for, well, it's going to be very hard to see, a way to hide the bezel gap up there and down here. Yes, I kind of went ghetto and used a piece of Gorilla Tape and some painted cardboard here. I'm pretty sure it's going to hold. This is some pretty serious Gorilla Tape. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but this is the best idea I could come up with at the moment. On the top, same thing, Gorilla Tape up there. It works pretty well so far. This cabinet didn't come with any of the screws here. I don't know what happened. I don't remember if the owner said he had them and maybe I forgot to get them, but essentially this will just slide away. So you'll be playing, if you're pushing the gas pedal, it'll make it scoot away. So I found some on Amazon. I took one off Hydro Thunder just to verify it was the right one. Seems to be a good size. Let's get those put in. So I actually forgot one very important part. These need washers. These holes are way too big. The heads of the screws will end up down inside of there, but luckily I had some around the house. I ended up getting a new pack of light bulbs for these, and I'm going to install this now, plug it in. This is the only light that's not working. Now, of course, the radio light, like I said earlier, it has no wiring to be a light up button, so I'm not sure what's up with that. I need to check the manual, but I keep forgetting to do so. But at least this one will be working. That means all three of these will work, and the start button will light up. Still in the middle one. There we go. All right, it works. So that's good. I can put it back together now. I've pulled out the tailgate cam button. This one is the stickiest or the nastiest, so I'm going to try to clean it up while it's out, and hopefully it won't stick so much when it's pressed. Getting those out of this thing is really difficult. You just have to yank really hard. It feels like you're going to break it, but luckily nothing broke. So to get a really good clean on it, I can push the button out, pinch these in, and can actually work the entire button out, but the spring is probably going to come loose too. And there we go. I can feel it is very sticky and nasty, so I'm gonna go clean that up real quick. That's what's come off it so far. I assume somebody had a soda sitting right there on the dash, and whoops, it spilled. It is just nasty in here. But hopefully it'll work a whole lot better now. So to put this back together, you want to, of course, put it in the correct way, or the right side up, which there really is no wrong way in this case. But now the button's sitting back here. It is not springing yet, but it will once you get the whole mechanism put back together. Not that I'm expecting you to ever do this, but I thought I'd at least show you. These buttons also have, I can't tell if it's focused, but these little nubs on the outside, which will sit inside of here. And actually, I should probably clean that first real quick, so hold on. Okay, that's about as pretty as I'm willing to make it at this point. I'll work on it another time, even if I have to pull this out. But I've got the camera set up, so let me show you real quick. Nubs here on this side and this side. They go in, lock into that place there, come around the back, figure out which one's the right one, which in my case, someone already marked it from working on it before. Almost forgot one important piece. This is the collar or nut, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put that on real quick. Tighten it down. Just finger tight in this case. Uh-oh, it slipped. There we go. So the button is now tight. The little nubs will help keep it in place on the back there. Take your micro switch / light, push it down inside, and it just locks into place. So I might have to push kind of hard. There we go. And that button feels a heck of a lot better now. Uh-oh, this guy's kind of sticky now. I don't know, they actually all feel okay, but I'm only probably gonna, uh-oh. Okay, well this one's sticking now too, so I think I'm going to do the same thing since the back's already off of it. Oh, I'm going to do a proper cleaning on this really quick. I've got a bleach wipe here, which will probably help a lot. I really hope I'm on camera because I can't see what the camera's seeing currently. Jeez. Nasty little kids. Or maybe bad adults putting drinks on video games. Who knows? It's a testament to how well these are built that it still works. You know, they think about that stuff when they build these, and they're like, well, we'll protect the important stuff, and the button may get sticky, but everything still worked. Okay, I'm going to call that good. No one's going to see it. Most of the sticky crap is off. I'm going to put the button back together now. The spring on this one just feels a little weak, but it still works. I think this one's good, actually. Well, I guess if we're doing it, let's do it right and do it all. I'm just going to go ahead and take care of this button, but I'll do it off camera. All right, I'm now in the service menu. I'm going to go check to see if these lights, I mean, I know they're working, but I want to show you guys. Press the button, it lights up. No more sticking here. You can press it quickly and it holds. All these are lighting up. Radio, for some reason, like I said, no wiring for it. Very weird, but luckily it's all working, and we can make sure that it's actually registering, which we know it is because it's lighting up, but there you go. Well, I'm really happy to say all that I have left is to put the new Marquee print on when it's in. It's coming in tomorrow, I believe, and that's it. I know this doesn't seem like it's taken a long time to you guys because I'm probably going to release this in one big video, but it has been an exhausting process, but I learned a lot. I also learned that the monitors may be a hair crooked. I didn't really notice that at first until Lady Cag came out and saw it, but it is what it is. I struggled like heck to get it in there, and I don't think I'm gonna fix it. It's only maybe a tad crooked, so don't look at it if you buy it. How's that? Don't look too closely at it. But so now I'm gonna move this out of the way for now and to start working on Mortal Kombat 4. I need to start getting it cleaned up, get all the bird crap off of it, do some painting, get ready to repair the control deck, but it's almost ready to go in the shed, I hope. We're hoping to get the monitor worked on soon, and maybe I can have this thing ready to play in the shed soon. And look out, you may actually see the Gameplay Monday on this before this video ever comes out, but I might do a Gameplay Monday with it soon, so you'll be able to see me play all the way through it. I'm going to do the state, where you play all the levels in order, and then you get to see an ending. So doing all this stuff has really made me realize I should probably have a workbench. Problem is I don't have much of a workbench because I have jet skis and all this stuff, but I got my print for California Speed. This is a new original stock print that the seller had. It is that thick stuff that you get on the real Marquees. It's pretty cool. This is an original one. We do have to cut it down to size, so I'm going to pull off the old Marquee and then hopefully get this thing installed and we can be done with California Speed. Okay, the new Marquee is installed. I'm feeling around for the power switch. I haven't seen it yet. Let's see what it looks like. Oh my God, much better. Holy crap. Wow. Okay, so that old Marquee was burned to crap, I guess. This is unbelievable. This looks really, really nice. The final step of working on California Speed is going to be to install the locks. I'm really happy to get this done. This has been kind of a pain. Oh crap, speaking of being a pain. But yeah, I'm going to install these really quickly, and I think we can call this thing done. Well, there we go. It's complete. I would have felt weird selling it without any locks, even though I've bought cabinets. Pretty much every cabinet I bought didn't have locks. But, you know, we got nice lock here. This thing, I was going to take this protector off, but just in case, it looks like a pain in the butt to get off for one. But just in case somebody who buys this maybe wants to put this in like a laundromat and really needs a lot of protection, I'm just going to tuck the keys right in that coin door there, close this up. That way they can put a big padlock on it also if they want. There are no coin mechs in it, but they can put that in if they want. I think I've done enough to this cabinet. Well, the cabinet's finished now, thankfully. I thought I'd take this camera though, flip it around, and I'm gonna show you guys everything that we did so you can see the finished product up close. Well, here we have it. Look at that Marquee. I just had to focus on it to make it look better. This is probably the prettiest thing on the entire cabinet right now. I'm in love with this Marquee. Who would have known that this LED would do such a good job with even lighting? It makes me want to do all my cabinets, which I may do eventually. Thanks to Scarlet Sprites for that video. That really helped me out here. That looks 50 times better probably than what it did when it was brand new, actually. The light is just so bright and even, and I love it. Anyway, let's move on though. The speaker grill is clean. Sorry about the poor lighting out here. I'm gonna try to change the focus. It doesn't look very clean when I focus on it like that though, now does it? But I assure you it is nice and cleaned, and the glass is clean. I actually think I finally got it looking really good. The screen is in. The LCD looks better than I thought. I don't like the little lines rolling or the noise lines in it. You really only see it when the screen's black, so, you know, or if you're really looking for it. I don't know why that's happening. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments if they've had one of those GBS boards do that. Also, if you saw the Gameplay Monday, which did come out before this, I lowered the brightness a little bit on the actual TV. Not the backlight, but the brightness setting. And it looks a lot better now. The black isn't blown out, or it doesn't look all gray and washed out. The colors look a lot better now too. I guess when I set it up initially, it was being done with the garage door open, and it was really bright in here, so I was trying to, really bring everything up. And now that the door is closed, even though I have this, bright light on here, it still looks really good. And another thing that I really like is the painted screws. They look so much better painted. Everything looks a lot cleaner there. I also did those right here. I probably should have done these now that I look at it, but they're really not that bad. These were real rusty for some reason. Also, I don't know if I ever covered this in the video. I know I talked about it potentially being broken, but this actually works just fine. If you see the gameplay Monday, I do a couple races with it and it worked great. Our lights are working now, as you saw there for a brief second. Start button's flashing. And underneath here, the only thing I did not really do that I kind of regret now is I didn't get the rust off, or I don't know, I guess that's rust on the pedals there. And the floor is a little dirty now, but it looks nice and clean normally. My boots or whatever shoes I'm wearing when I'm out here, it's a garage. I'm stepping out of the house, going into the yard, coming back in, and I'll say, hey, let me play a little bit. So I need to sweep it out before I do sell it. But overall, I think it's looking good. The coin door was painted, which made it look a lot cleaner and nicer. We got our keys in there still. Even this big front piece was painted. Didn't come out as nice as I'd like. You can kind of see some streaks in it there. I was trying to keep it pretty light, but it still got a little runny right there. And of course, we have our bolts here, 4 on this side, 4 on the other side, a nice complete set. My Hydro Thunder was missing a couple when I got it. I need to take a few extras of these and go put them on the Hydro Thunder. I gave the side art a nice wipe down and cleaning. I did not take this off. This void you see underneath here is what it looks like if you do take it off. And it is really stuck to the cabinet, so I decided, you know what, we'll leave that there, but I did take off the big plastic thing they put on it to cover it. Ideally, this would have still had a CRT. I know the CRT would have looked a lot better in it, but it really doesn't look bad. It is a medium resolution game, and I've since realized from the beginning of this video, thinking it was a K7500 monitor, actually it was a U5000, which is a dual resolution, which means I now have a monitor for my MK4, which I've started working on, by the way. It's torn apart in various different states, but this is gonna be really nice when it's done. Jojo from the Wicked Arcade, he's gonna come help me get that monitor going. We got the parts in, I'm waiting on a couple more, and this may be ready in a couple weeks. I'm already starting to compile all the video and stuff, so stay tuned if you wanna see how this comes out. Overall, I'm happy with how it came out. This is my first real hardcore, I guess you could say, restoration. I didn't go too nuts with it, but I've never swapped a monitor out. I've never done a lot of this stuff. It was definitely a learning experience. It was a little expensive. I think all in, I'm around $600. So $200 to pick it up, and probably another $400, I guess. I've kept notes, but it's around $400. That doesn't include any labor. I may try to sell this thing for about $800. I'd like to start at that price. I'd like to get that price. There are some others in the area for $1,000 plus, but some of them have a CRT. One of them has an LCD. I would not go over $1,000 for it. The boards are real clean, in good shape, so hopefully I can get a buyer for it. That'd be nice. I'll never make the money back I spent in labor, like I said, but that's okay because I got to make videos off of it, and I'll probably still do a what's inside video on this and show the boot up process, show the power usage without the LCD in it. It should be pretty interesting. I'm hoping somebody will buy it for at least something that gives me some tiny bit of profit, just so I can keep moving forward, maybe buy the next cabinet, maybe do the same thing to it. I know a lot of you want to see this thing in the Shedcade, but I like the game a lot. I don't think it's Shedcade material, for me at least. I'll probably get bored of it pretty quickly. It's a big game, it takes up a lot of room. So it's gonna be sold, or at the very least, I'll keep it in storage and maybe I'll use it in the future, who knows? Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I wish I could have done it in the Shedcade where it's air conditioned. Parts of this video were done when it was very cold outside, and this video today has got me almost sweating in here now. It's like 82 outside. Humid and gross. Texas weather's all over the place, but it's a good time of year to work on arcade cabinets in the garage. At least it's not 100 outside and I'm not dying in here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new, please subscribe for more arcade content, including the restoration of Mortal Kombat 4, or cleanup and repair, I guess, really. I can tell you this, Quan Chi gets a good back scrubbing, which he enjoys greatly. And I enjoyed too because it had bird crap all over it. So be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss Quan Chi getting a sponge bath. If you enjoyed this one, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment letting me know what you think of the finished product. And if you want to buy the cabinet, hit me up too. That'd be cool. But if not, I'll sell it on Facebook Marketplace. Thank you guys for making it this far in this long video. I'll see you guys on the next one.